Get started here. Today is March 30th, 2023, appointed hour 9:30 arrived. We'll move into our first meeting, which is the meeting of the salary board. I have to present this, so call that to order and begin with a roll call of members present, please.
Commissioner Eichelberger.
Present.
Commissioner Pache.
I'm here.
Commissioner DiFilippo.
Present.
Controller Whitcomb.
Here. Very good. Okay. That moves us into public comments. Now is the time for anybody who wishes to address the salary. Just a second. All right, hearing nothing, we have no one online. We'll move to the minutes of March 16 meeting, needing approval today.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of March 16.
Second. It's moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, that brings us to the salary board actions.
I'll make a motion to approve the salary board actions.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, item 6, other business to come before the salary. Do we have anything additional? Not hearing anything, so I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Stand adjourned. Thank you. And that will move us into the Board of Commissioners meeting. Ask you to stand with us. I pledge
allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. We'll call the meeting to order. Begin with roll call. Members present, please.
Commissioner Eichelberger.
Present.
Commissioner Pache.
I'm here.
Commissioner DiFilippo.
Present. Thank you. Okay, that brings us also to the public comment portion. And in keeping with our new consent agenda, now is the time for anyone who wishes to address the Board of Commissioners on an issue that is not listed on the agenda. Yes, sir. Identify yourself and your municipality residence.
I'm Josh Mon, where should I stand? Josh Monning, I live in Hampton Township. The reason I stopped out here today is because last night we had a catastrophe happen on the Carlisle Pike in the area of right there where the Chick-fil-A is. And the children were crossing the road and one of them was struck and fatality occurred. Feel that there's really no reason for any of this to have happened. We have over the past decade have quite a lot of development going on in Silver Springs Township. We've approved 10,000 new homes. We've approved a massive commerce area, which is delightful for a lot of people. The problem is we haven't done any research on the public accommodations for those people. We haven't done any traffic studies to make sure that those areas are safe, the speed limits are correct, and then also that we had the public parks in place and the public pools in place for those developments that we have approved in the past. We need to take a better look for the people around here for their safety and for the well-being and the peace and happiness of the taxpayers to make sure the public accommodations and that the roadways are up to speed. One thing that could have been done in that situation is we could add a walking bridge, very simply to do many other populated areas. It'd be nice if somebody could ride their bike right across the top of Carlisle Pike so they could connect their residential area to their commerce area without being in any type of hazardous environment or condition. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Blunt. Okay, we have
There's two people online, but they don't have their hands raised. A Steve Rico and Janae Day.
Janita Rochelle.
Okay.
Okay, are they both with our Deering group? Okay. The folks from Deering, did you have any comment you wish to offer, or are you just observing because of the content of the agenda? Steve? Raise your hand. Not hearing anything? Okay,
Nope,
go ahead.
just observing.
Okay, very good.
And Steve has his hand up.
Steve does have his hand.
Yes, we were just observing as well.
Okay, thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Okay, that moves us to item 4. We have recognition for telecommunicator award, and friends from Carlisle VFW are going to come forward to present this.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Dick McCoy, and indeed, I am the safety officer, chaplain, and surgeon for the VFW Post 477 on Trindle Road here in Carlisle. This is Commander Rick Olson from the VFW, and each year we present what they call them safety awards. In the past, it's gone to police officer, EMT, and firefighter. And we've had winners each year. And this year, in fact, our police officer of the year made state police officer of the year out of North Middleton Township. So very proud of that. But a new category was created this past year in 2022 for 911 dispatcher. And we submitted through the county dispatch office through recommendations from Mike Sullivan. We nominated Dean Harrow. Dean, if you would come up. And so Dean is a retired Navy Seabee, and actually his last 4 years of his service were spent in Bahrain as a dispatcher. So he came to, well, you had been a recruiter in Mechanicsburg before going to Bahrain.
Correct.
And then after you retired, you returned to the area and got a job at the 911 dispatch.
Correct.
And have worked there for 4 years? Is it
No, just under 2 years.
Under
at
2
the
years. Okay.
Department of Public Safety.
So we submitted Dean, and we would like to present him with our
Are you the official photographer for the group or just, you just happen to have a
Yeah, do you
camera?
guys wanna
I
go?
invite you folks to come up.
Come on up.
Yeah.
Is this something we could get a
Mr. Olson.
photo of
Yep.
when you're done?
Yeah.
That way I won't have to hand you my camera, my. You as well.
yeah, them all in the group here and.
We take a couple here.
All right.
And
Excellent.
then can I also get one, just with VFW
We'll
and
put
Dean?
Dean in the center.
There we go.
And then I'll do one just with you, Dean. All right.
All right.
One is just Dean.
So, I'd like to say a few things, excuse me,
All right.
or you want to have some more stuff? So, first year that the dispatch award has come up, it was recommended by the state of Pennsylvania and taken to the national convention. And for reasons I can't explain, they decided not to adopt the EMT portion of the program, to include it. We are not gonna stand for that. I mean, we're gonna continue to fight the battle for that, but I can tell you this. The state of Pennsylvania believes in the importance of what you do. And we will continue the program regardless of what the national wants to do. And I can assure you that if the state doesn't fulfill that expressed intent, we fully intend to complete our circle with your category. And we respect what you do. Dick's been doing this now for approximately 5 years. I've been a commander for 10, and I wasn't properly groomed to understand the VFW. I've only been in the VFW 12 years. And I finally learned about the program, and the importance was pretty natural, right? I mean, what you guys do, our firefighters, our policemen, is just incredible. And it goes unrecognized, but not once we started doing it. So we've had sometimes two firefighters. It just depends on who gets submitted to us, and if generally if he gets 2, he's going to submit them both. And this year, our post was the only post, at least in the district, of 22 posts that did all 4 categories. It's a criteria for, you notice I have an All-American cap on. Our post has only been All-American 4 times in its 100-year history. And we just made it for the 2nd time, which will make it 5, 2 times in my tenure. And it has a lot to do with guys like Dick that make it happen, right? We do things and we do them for the right reasons. We don't do them to get a check mark. Most of the posts just, okay, I need one of these, I need a firefighter or a policeman. They submit one and they're done and they qualify for a hat, right? Or one of the steps. We do it, we don't do it for the hat. We do it because what you guys do for our community is just incredible. We had firefighters 2 years ago, father and son. The son was a Vietnam veteran, corpsman, and his father had served in World War II. Collectively, between the 2 people, they had over 100 years of firefighting service. And you talk about serving your community, and that goes unrecognized. Well, not anymore. So we hope to be honoring some of your peers in the future. One of the things that we've just adopted this year is all of our winners get a membership to our post. First year's on us. And since you are a combat veteran, you get to be an official VFW member. I want to welcome you to our post. You and your wife and your child are welcome anytime. And we bring your friends, right? We'd love to. That's open to you all too. You know, you're welcome to be social members of our post, or if you're veterans, come and see me. Because we're always looking for a few good men or women. So what have I missed, Dick?
I think you covered it, Commander.
Well, thank you for understanding the importance of this, to have us do this in front of of your staff here, what you all do for the community. I'm sure it resonates.
Yeah, you need a
Yeah.
family photo.
Sure. Photo, Jimmy.
Oh, yeah. Nick, you gotta get back. Well, I'm sure you want one of just you all, but we need to get a picture with this cute little baby. We can sell that one.
While we're doing that, I just want to say a few words about Dean. Dean has been an exemplary employee for us. It was very difficult to make the choice because we have so many good employees at the Department of Public Safety, but based on Dean's prior service, he received a lot of great training in the military, and I think that this is a prime example of veterans returning from their federal service and providing additional service in their community. Dean not only is a Department of Public Safety dispatcher, but he's also a fire police officer with Silver Spring Community Fire Company. Has a lot of lights on his truck. I think the other fire police are really jealous. But he's a person who believes in service at all levels, and we really appreciate your work, Dean. Thank you. And thank you for allowing him to help us.
Thank you for adding that. And because in the VFW, what we call that, still serving. Definitely still serving. So we're honored to have you as a member of our post, man.
You bet, my pleasure. Didn't get that briefcase.
On behalf of the board, let me just extend thanks to the VFW for your work on this, particularly including the telecommunications.
Our pleasure, sincerely. Y'all have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. You bet.
Okay, with that, we move over to our consent agenda portion and handing it off to the COC Chief Clerk.
Thank you, Commissioner. So agenda items 5 through 10 are routine items. They do not appear to be controversial in nature and do not require additional discussion as such. If discussion is required, now would be the time to ask for any of those items to be moved out of the consent agenda. Hearing none, Commissioners, I would ask for a motion to approve agenda items 5 through 10.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, keep us saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
So that moves us then to the regular agenda. These are typically non-routine items or those items that require or would benefit from additional discussion. And we'll start with agenda item 11, which is discussion and request for approval of the recommendation to nominate Tanya Barnett from Children and Youth as the Cumberland County Legacy Partner for 2023-2024 Leadership Cumberland Program. That is a mouthful. I will tell you, commissioners, that there was a team of 5 individuals who reviewed the 6 applications that we received from county employees for this Leadership Cumberland position. And it was a very tough decision. I think any one of these individuals who they've all been notified, but any one of those individuals would have served Cumberland County proud. But nevertheless, we have 1 seat, and Tanya Barnett stood out with really how she wanted to bring what she learned back, not just to her position here, but to the community. So I would request approval of providing that information to Leadership Cumberland so Tanya can participate in the program.
So discussion. Motion.
I will move to nominate Tanya Barnett from Children and Youth as the Cumberland County Legacy Partner for the 2023-2024 Leadership Cumberland Program.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, commissioners. Agenda item 12 is discussion and approval of the Cumberland County Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Statement. And Holly Sherman is here to discuss. Hi, Holly.
Good morning. Good morning, commissioners. I'm here to request approval of the Cumberland County Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Statement. Just a little bit of background. Contract was approved in February for us to contract with Daring, and then additionally Janita Rochelle. So they're on the call, both Steve Riccio and Janita, to embark on a journey of diversity, equity, and inclusion training and education for the county employees. The first step in that is to define what diversity, equity, and inclusion looks like here at Cumberland County. So with our statement, we went about doing this statement. We had a brainstorming session with senior management in late February. Was really proud of the work that came together from that team to come up with the statement that I will read that we've had before you for approval hopefully today. The statement, as written by the senior management team, Cumberland County acknowledges and celebrates the unique characteristics of our residents, employees, and visitors. We identify diversity as a strength and consider it a growing, valuable asset of our community. We thoughtfully offer services and opportunities by understanding the different needs of our residents and actively engaging the underrepresented. Everyone who lives, works, and visits Cumberland County will benefit from our commitment to a welcoming environment. Commissioners, I would ask for approval of that statement today.
Discussions, motions.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the Cumberland County Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Statement as presented this morning by Holly Sherman.
I second that motion.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Further comments, questions? I do have some comments. We had executive session discussion on this. And I made clear that I had some issues with how this was pursued. And I have a statement I'm going to read parts of, and I wanted to introduce into the record so that it's clear, because this is an issue that has generated significant controversy across the nation. So I'm going to touch on a couple of highlights here. The commissioners recently agreed to the inclusion of a diversity training program into our management training. I supported that. My support was based on 2 things. Belief that such training protects the county from legal actions, and also my belief that providing awareness to our employees about our changing population involves a need for understanding that people's experiences are all different. Some of those experiences can be defined by their racial or ethnic background, but that presents an incomplete picture, yet worthy of understanding. However, as we are seeing nationwide, excessively focusing on the superficial, such as skin color, robs us of an appreciation of people as individuals, which was essentially the message of Dr. Martin Luther King in appealing to the nation's conscience on the issue of equality. The proposed statement does not move us forward with that type of understanding. When unveiled, I noted 2 major shortcomings. Number 1, it fails to define the terms diversity, equity, and inclusion. These are heavily misunderstood and misstated terms that would benefit from an explanation of exactly what we mean when we say we are committed to them. Clarity helps us understand the why and the how. They should be more than just politically correct phrases dropped into our organization to meet an undefined social standard. Lack of clarity merely allows people to interpret these phrases in their own manner. These terms are controversial because of the resulting question of what remedy, if any, is required. When you define what something is, you likewise define what it is not. It likewise defines your expectation for the members of this organization or any organization, and defines for applicants the type of employer we might be for them. These are good qualities of any policy, any publicly stated policy. The other, perhaps a more important shortcoming I see here, and that I ask to be remedied, is the lack of mention of merit as a hiring priority. Its absence sends the wrong message. We should not become a quota-driven organization or one that holds different standards for different persons based on the superficial labels that I mentioned earlier. Cumberland County has worked diligently in my time here to hire the best we can find. We expect a lot from our people, and we are better and more cost-effective government because of it. In my time here, we largely eliminated the historical practice of political party being the chief hiring criteria. Merit matters more, and the same should apply to other labels. I believe we should resist the current political push to make quotas and compliance with quotas and other heavily politicized criteria and requirements as the measure of an organization's acceptability, while ensuring that we meet all equal employment opportunity laws and that we not deviate from the 14th Amendment of our Constitution that states equal protection under the law exists for all citizens. And in fact, that we use effective methods to promote understanding of something as simple as the golden rule: treat others as you wish to be treated. We need to put merit at the top of the list of why we choose someone to hire and nothing else. The unwillingness to state that in itself is a step backwards. This statement presented to us as written opens the door to those who would have us use diversity as a club for political objectives. We've already had one incident involving the sheriff's office. I won't go into detail on it. I would refer you to her and let her decide if she wishes to speak to it. But we were barely out of the gate with the practice of discussing diversity before that situation developed. So the idea that it won't happen here is simply wrong. Over the past year, I was forced to speak out vocally multiple times against an ESG, social consciousness investing policy advocated for our retirement plan. A proposal was forwarded by the minority commissioner in partnership with the county treasurer, and which would place social factors above our fiduciary responsibility to safeguard the soundness of our employee retirement plan. My request in the diversity issue that we place emphasis on merit and we clearly communicate our goals and expectations as part of any effort to address our changing population were not positively received, to put it mildly. This in itself confirms that the emphasis on conformity and control is a real threat to any effort that we undertake, even as well-meaning as our initial discussion was. In sum, the movement toward non-merit factors in this case, the current obsession with identity politics, leads to division, not unity. The answer to division is not more division. That is what identity politics does. This statement as written only reinforces identity politics as a major decision criteria, and that is the wrong path. There are better ways to meet our objective of including members of various ethnic and racial groups into the county government family. We should focus there rather than on fluffy, superficial statements that amount to little more than virtue signaling at best, and at worst could form the basis for more expressions of grievance by selected groups, especially those who consciously are looking to agitate and perhaps litigate on social issues as part of their political agenda. As I've said, there are better ways to address this issue that invoke less potential for problems. That is my statement and my stated intention to vote against this.
I'm sorry, jumping in. I've got to comment on this. This statement, the Cumberland County Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Statement, is 4 sentences. And it talks about welcoming, being a welcoming environment. And all of our department heads put this statement together. I think they were incredibly thoughtful in it. Our county solicitor has weighed in on this and said, this is not something that subjects the county to litigation. That was a lot of words to comment on 4 sentences, and I've spent some time since we started putting this together, and I want to make sure that I address this to you, Holly, because I think it's really important. And I just go into stores in Cumberland County. I go into Giant. Right there is their statement of inclusion. Go into Wegmans. They've got a statement. I go all over this county. And there's a statement about including people, about the importance of being diverse, about equity. And I don't know why this county would want to be behind the times on that. Why this county would want to say, we're growing, we have a diverse population, but we're not going to welcome you. I want to make it very, very clear that I am separated from the statements of Commissioner Eichelberger. He is not speaking for the board. He speaks for himself. I want to make that very clear. I also want to make something else very clear. And Commissioner, I kept my mouth shut while you spoke. This is not tit for tat. I'm making my position. I'm not arguing with you. It's not up for debate. Yes, we spoke with the county's retirement board advisor about what we were investing in. And his response to us was, well, we're already doing that. Your investments are already, some of them are already things that are about diversity, equity, and inclusion. I mean, it's not a novel idea, and those investments are good. It's not about putting people down. We're supposed to lift everyone up. This is part of it. That was one of the most disappointing statements I've ever heard. Personal opinion. That's all. That's all I have.
All right, so we have.
This gentleman has some public comment.
On the topic, from what I understand from my intellectual studies, that this equity policy is a hand-me-down initiative from the World Economic Forum, and those policies from the World Economic Forum compromise the integrity of the United States Constitution and also the integrity of the Pennsylvania Constitution. I would concur and agree with Gary Eichelberger's statements on this particular endeavor. Thank you.
As I was mentioned in this statement, am I permitted to offer my perspective of what happened on the pension board? Gary, I asked for information related to ESG investing because it is a very hot topic. Our advisor provided us with information related to that. There was no change to the investment policy by the board.
That's right.
If Commissioner Fasci and I had made any recommendation for such, we could not have done it with 2 people on a 5-person board. The information that was supplied was incredibly enlightening. And what it proved is that you cannot make a statement that you will not do ESG investing for any company that is rated highly as adhering to ESG policies, or you would be eliminating Microsoft, Alphabet, Apple, and you can't be in a large stock portfolio.
Yes, those are all the points that I made during.
They're just
You
public
were not,
comment going on. It's not
did
free
not
debate.
make those points, Gary. What was determined, we were given information, we did our due diligence and we upheld our fiduciary responsibility to review that, and no recommendation was made. Nothing changed about the way the pension fund is being invested, because the way it is being invested under the guidance of our advisor is based on the performance of the individual investments, and that's what it should be. But obtaining information does not, in fact, put us in a position of having recommended changes to the investment policy.
I've reviewed my notes. You advocated very specifically for some things, as did Commissioner Fasci.
I wanted to understand the impact on our portfolio, if any.
That's an interesting amendment to your, but that's not the first. So
You are
I'm
lying.
standing by
It's
it.
just you lying. You lie and lie
You
and
just keep
lie.
falling back on that. When
It's
you have to
crazy.
deflect
What
from
you
your
said
vote.
today was unhinged. What you are doing is unhinged. You are taking statements that were made by Treasurer Niederer.
Mm.
You're taking statements that are made at the retirement board that are public, and you twist them into something they're not, and
Well-
you do it for your own. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on with you. What you were doing is wrong. You are attributing something to Kelly and I, and I'm gonna assume the sheriff is here because she's not a fan that her name was dragged into something this morning, but I don't know why you're here, Sheriff. You attribute things to us, you accuse me of things, and then you're like, oh, what? She is going to say something that she's gonna defend herself, which I hate doing because it's bullshit. What you're doing this morning is bullshit, and I hope the Sentinel's listening to me and we can talk about that later.
Well, we do have minutes from those meetings. I could recount the details. I'm not going to do that.
I'm sure you
here.
could in your warped, confused way.
Gary,
There are a lot of witnesses in that room. So if you're going to say that that's what your version of truth,
You bring him in.
Gary,
stand by.
that is,
But
I asked for information. It was supplied. Did we change the investment policy? Was a recommendation made to change the investment policy?
based on a lot of commentary, including my comments about why the ESG community is trying to exclude Elon Musk, who has advanced battery technology and clean technologies. But that's what some of the Wall Street folks are doing under pressure. I think that my comments, along with what they were demanded at considerable probable expense, or at least a significant investment of hours, made very clear that there was not a majority that was going to support what was proposed.
There was nothing proposed.
I know, it's just a story.
There is, you can review the minutes. There was no proposal presented. There was information shared. That was the extent of it.
As I said, there are a significant number of witnesses to
Just
what was
because you
stated.
say something and you say it with some level of authority doesn't make it true. And what you're saying is not true.
What I'm saying is true. I'll stand by that.
Absolutely
I'll stand
not.
by that. So
Vince is a member of the retirement board, or he's a member of the pension board. Vince, was there ever a motion made to adopt an ESG?
nobody said a motion.
You're saying,
I said that there was a proposal made
was
that
there a
both of you made
proposal
jointly.
made to adopt?
There was no
Thank you.
proposal made to adopt. That's
There's
true.
no proposal, there is no motion.
There's no motion.
No,
There was
there is-
advocacy.
No, God forbid anyone would look into what is going on the retirement board to make sure that the pensioners of Cumberland County are protected. Oh, my goodness, God forbid we would
Protected?
want to make
What was
that
being
there was
discussed
money there
then
for
was
them with their
it
retirement.
was discussed.
You are lying. You
Fine,
are
hide
lying.
behind that, hide behind
There's
that.
nothing to hide
There was
behind. I'm telling the
Fiduciary
truth.
responsibility means that you put returns first, and that was not.
Well, you're not
the
doing that
emphasis on-
because you don't even advocate for an investigation into something. You don't even advocate for information.
You may
The fact that there
recall,
was
or
a
you probably don't,
conversation-
is
the
that
fact
my
I'm
comments that
speaking, the fact that there was a conversation about something on the retirement board is some kind of conspiracy?
Political
Well-
statement.
Political statement.
You're
Thank you.
making a political statement, Gary, that is inappropriate. I know you fancy
Causing
yourself an
ruckus.
investor.
You
However-
brought political statements into the finance meeting here regarding nursing home with false charges you made of missing funds. So please
I
don't
am-
sit there and tell
No.
me I'm making political statements.
Transparency of accounting of funds is what I was questioning because you shared information from the county politically before you've shared. it
I
with
shared
others.
what was, you responded that there was no information from the county. As county treasurer, you were in a position to know better.
There was not a complete and transparent.
We're off
accounting.
topic here. The
Yes,
issue is
we
the
are.
statement
You
here.
brought the topic
If you're-
up.
I brought it
You
up
went
to,
for a hit. You went for a hit and then you're getting responded to and you don't know what to do. So then
I
you
know
go,
exactly what to
now
do.
I'm off topic, now we're off topic.
I know-
But you took it off topic.
well, we
You
can
set
talk about this
yourself
topic
up
too,
for
if you want,
nonsense
because there
all
are
the
people
time,
who will
buddy.
tell you what was said at that meeting.
I'm sure there are.
Yes, there are, Gary.
It's a recorded meeting. You can go back and look at it.
Attorney Brenneman, may I respond
to receive it?
That's up to the board.
I think.
Sure.
Thank you. Commissioner Eichelberger did mention the sheriff's office in his statement and alluded to an incident that occurred in our office. And I would like to make that clear for the record that that incident referred to a supervisor in our office, referring to the administrative staff that he directly supervised. That administrative staff consisted of 3 females, and he referred to them as the girls. That comment was that was overheard by, I don't know who brought it up to the instructor of the leadership class, that they felt it was inappropriate to refer to administrative females as the girls. So that is what the incident that you referred to, that was what the incident was about. If the commissioners have any questions, if any member of the public has any questions regarding that incident or how it was handled in our office, I would encourage them to reach out to me at the sheriff's office.
That's precisely what I did, rather than recount what you and I.
He said if I wanted to answer any questions, they could reach out to me. And I just want to put it on record that yes, I am here. Please reach out to me and I will answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jane. Okay, so we have an item up for vote.
I just want to make a comment and a question. Holly, this statement, which I think's, I'm not a scholar on the US Constitution, but I know enough of it. This pretty much paraphrases what it says regarding equality for people. Where will this be included in our county documentation?
I envision it being part of our employee handbook with other statements that we have on our HR website. It is as an employer, we want to make a statement that we are welcoming to everybody. Not saying that, merit is taking a back seat to anything. The
No,
board has been put in
it's not
place.
even mentioned.
So, yes, in our official documents, I would imagine.
All right.
I see that a second.
Yeah.
I'll have my copy pulled up.
Yeah, that's the only question.
Okay. I mean, the phrase that I specified as raising a first red flag to me was understanding the different needs of our residents and actively engaging the underrepresented. My concern is that sounds like special treatment and could certainly be interpreted that way. And it's treating people differently. We can certainly do outreach to groups. I've been part of that with other organizations in my professional career. But that does not involve telling people that we're going to meet them where they are, which is essentially how that reads to a lot of people. So I've stated my position. I stand by everything I said. So that brings us to the vote, I guess. All right, so all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Please record me as a no.
Right, that takes us to agenda item 13, which is discussion and approval of contracts for children and youth as listed on the agenda. And we have Jamie Reiber here with us. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, good morning. The first I have on is the agreement between Cumberland County and Marikey Dual Diagnosis Treatment Team. This is just a memorandum of understanding so that we can share information back and forth with our clients. The second one is the Impact Project, which is a foster care agency that we contract with. They did have increases ranging from 1.5% up to almost 13%. They also had a couple of levels that decreased their rates over this fiscal year. All of their rates are at or below the state maximum allowable. They, of course, indicate some of the reasons that they needed the increases because they are needing to recruit and support the foster parents so that they can better support our children and youth. And then they're also looking for additional monies towards recruiting and retaining staff as well. Any questions?
It is requested
Oh,
today.
okay, do we have a motion for that?
I will move to approve the contracts for children and youth as listed. They are American Dual Diagnosis Treatment Team and the Impact Project, Inc.
I'll second.
Moved in second, any further? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie.
Next, we have Mike Lubinsky from the Conservation District to discuss and request approval for grant awards and contracts. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. Good morning, commissioners. The Conservation District is just seeking approval to enter into agreements with PACD for the to utilize the grants that were awarded by them. The first grant was awarded to hold a rain barrel workshop at Lower Allen Township, which is targeting around 30 participants to instruct and educate them on runoff and its effects. And the second one is for Stewart Park in Dickinson Township, where some improvements were made to the riparian areas. And this grant would be to erect a sign and also hold a workshop. And during that workshop, there would be presentations given to discuss the improvements and educate any of the public that would be there. And that's it. Any questions?
Approval today.
Yeah, move to approve grant awards and contracts for the Conservation District as listed. Pennsylvania Association of Conservation Districts granted acceptance of $2,000 for Lower Allen Township Rain Barrel Workshop, and also $2,000 for Dickinson Township Stewart Park site.
A second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any further questions? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Brent Durham here to discuss a contract for facilities management. Good morning, Brent.
Good morning, everyone. Before you was a contract with Siemens. This is a 3-year contract for our building automation and HVAC control system. The contract amount is $104,628 for the 3-year term. This is an increase of $9,105 from the previous 3 years. This contract includes things such as Siemens technicians coming on site to perform control loop tuning for better accuracy, perform software network maintenance, identify problems, provides trainings to our staff, provides online tech support, part discounts, quicker response times, and annual software upgrades are also included in this contract. The county over the years has made a significant investment in the Siemens building automation system, and this contract is in place to help us maintain and protect that investment. Any questions?
Move to approve the Siemens contract for facilities management.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brent.
All right, next we have Sue Carbaugh joining us on Zoom to discuss and request approval for contracts for MHIDD. Good morning, Sue.
Good morning. So we have 4 contracts here, 3-year ID, one is EI. So the first contract for intellectual disabilities is Bloom Human Services. It's an amendment to their current contract. It's an increase of $6,970 due to additional authorized services. Next contract is the Cornerstone Agency of PA Inc. It is also an amendment to this year's contract. It's is an increase of $5,405 due to additional authorized services. Keon Enterprises LLC is also an amendment. It's an increase of $426 due to additional authorized services. And for early intervention, we have the Central PA Therapy Connections LLC. It is an amendment to this year's contracts, an increase of $22,134 due to additional authorized services And the increase is specific to speech therapy. Is there any questions?
Okay, so we're looking for action on that as well.
Move to approve the contracts for MHIDD as listed for intellectual and developmental disabilities fiscal year 2022 and early intervention fiscal year 2022.
A second.
Okay, moved and seconded, all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
That's
Thank
it
you.
for Sue. Right, thanks.
Thank you, Sue. Hi, Kirk. Kirk has our next agenda item, which is the land partnership contracts for planning.
Okay, thank you. We have 5 land partnerships contracts on the agenda today for approval. First is in Lemoyne Borough for improvements to Memorial Park for basketball and Gaga Pit and some signage upgrades. Silver Spring Township's improving Paul Waters Park for pickleball courts, walking trails and benches. Lower Frankfort Township is looking at improvements to Opossum Lake to include playground equipment. And Penn Township is improving Community Park for pavilions and a picnic grove. And finally, Hampton Township is improving Saruji Park to include a shelter and a public restroom. All these grants are from our Cumberland County Land Partnerships Program, and it also matched with local funds.
Okay, discussion, questions?
We'll move to approve the land partnership contracts for planning for Lemoyne Borough, Silver Spring Township, Lower Frankfort Township, Penn Township, and Hampton Township.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Kirk, I just have one question. Thank you for sending me the list of the selection group. How often do we look at refreshing the membership on that selection group? Or do we?
Well, Gary, we've had certain groups that have helped us over the years, and I think those groups have done an excellent job, and I think they have a lot of institutional knowledge on how the program works. That's really valuable to us. We can update that list at commissioner's discretion whenever you feel. I mean, at the end of the day, the program is the commissioners. We're simply implementing that. If there's members on there you want to see changed or other organizations, let us know. We'll work with you on that.
My only point in asking that, Kirk, is something that I brought up here multiple times, which we have institutional knowledge in a lot of these groups, but you always have to build new institutional knowledge, or it all walks out the door at the same time potentially. So this group and other groups, and this is more than just to you, it would maybe behoove us to changing out some folks now and then. So we are building new institutional knowledge. So I just raised that as I have several times before, but I have no complaints with your organization. I just think we need to look at that. So thank you for your answers.
Yep. Thank you for those comments.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thanks, Kirk.
Okay, Kirk is also with us today to discuss and request approval for the Western Pennsylvania Conservancy contract for planning.
So, Commissioners, this is part of our Clean Water Action Plan. It's 100% funded through DEP funding that we have to implement that plan. So this will be for permitting, landowner coordination, procurement, and project management for best management practices that we're doing at 2 spots on the Yellow Breeches Creek and then another spot on the Latort Spring Run.
Questions? Motion.
Yes, I'll make a motion that we approve the Western Pennsylvania Conservancy contract for planning as presented.
I second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Other discussion? All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, and then Kirk has one additional agenda item to discuss today, which is discussion and approval to reappoint HRG as the county bridge engineer.
Commissioners, as you're aware, HRG is the Cumberland County Bridge Engineer. They've served 2 terms with us. Each term is 5 years. At the expiration of that 5-year term, we're required by PennDOT to solicit statements of interest from engineering firms that could serve as our engineer. We work with our solicitor and PennDOT to advertise. We received 6 firms in response. We had a committee as myself, Ron Snell and Carrie Finkenbinder, who work most closely with the bridge program. We're recommending retention of HRG. Honestly, HRG has led us through our most recent bridge capital improvement program. $40 million worth of work over 7 years on 19 bridges. I think they've done exceptional work. Their value added, not only just inspecting bridges, but giving us guidance on how to improve our programs. Most recently with our phase 2 options that we're looking for a $5 registration fee. So we're recommending reappointment of HRG with commissioner approval of that. We'll work with PennDOT to go back and solicit a price proposal from them and execute contracts for them to remain as our county bridge engineer.
Kirk, any questions regarding any complaints or concerns that were been raised during their tenure that are significant enough for consideration?
So I think, you know, whenever we have a bridge engineer like this, there's always room for improvement. And I work with them on issues that I've had. I mean, over the past 5 years, there's been issues I've raised with them. They've improved. I know our solicitor has raised some issues on the legal documents that we're working with them to improve. So I think that's the other piece with HRG. They're open to hearing that and they want to hear that. So as we work through this, if the board, if others hear complaints or problems with HRG, to let me know, let others know, so that we can continue down that path of improvement with them and not just let them get static and really not improve what they're doing. I think I lost, I can't hear anyone now.
I can hear you, but I can't hear the room.
Kirk, this
Okay.
is Jess and IMTO. It looks like the commissioner's hearing room was muted. Please bear with me. I'm trying to get that fixed now.
Can you hear us now?
Yep. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay,
Fine,
good.
fine,
All
fine.
right. Well, I thought that was my cue to wind it up.
Well, we were getting ready to hang up on you.
Yeah.
Kirk, I just asked about the pricing. You know, have we seen significant movement in the pricing of the
Sure.
contracts?
Yeah, so right now, Gary, this is a statement of interest. So PennDOT's process, you get the statement of interest where you look at qualifications, then we have a price contract. Is HRG the cheapest? No, absolutely not. They're not the cheapest. But and I'm a cheap guy too, I think, as you all know, but you get what you pay for. And the
I
quality.
notice I
of
always
the-
pick up for lunch when we go, so you don't have to tell me. But no, my question really was the pricing over the history of the 2 terms with the contract. Are we have any concerns about that? Has the pricing been in line with industry? Any concerns on that?
I haven't seen it, Gary. It gets back to what I said earlier too, about you get what you pay for, especially when you're looking at these types of projects. I'm comfortable with the HRG team. I can put them in any environment and they can speak on our behalf. You can't do that with every engineer. And I've seen it fail miserably in many cases where you're trying to put an engineer type out there and they can't get it done. HRG has a deep bench. They have a well-qualified bench, and I think they've served us very well over the past 10 years. Keeping an eye on their costs. We want to keep their costs reasonable. I believe that, you know, contract over contract, they have been. If their prices escalate too far too, I believe PennDOT, who also is a reviewer of their contract and scope of work, believe they would raise issues with us as well.
Okay, I would just add, I think they've been very responsive, at least from inquiries from the commissioners, and very helpful. So
yes.
Mr. Chairman, may I follow up on your comment? Kirk, I understand the next step would be you're going back to PennDOT, but then there's going to be some analysis of pricing that they're going to propose for services to the county.
Yeah, Keith, I'll come back with a price proposal that PennDOT will review and we'll review as well.
And will the commissioners at that point approve that moving forward?
Yes.
Is there contract? Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess at that point, you'd be able to present information concerning the price proposal for this new 5-year period, and then how the pricing was in the previous 5.
Sure. Yeah, if the board would like to see a summary of that, of the previous contracts, we'd be happy to do that.
very good. I think, I'm sorry, was there a motion made? Do we have a motion? No? Okay, so we'll need that.
I will move to approve to reappoint HRG as the county bridge engineer for another 5 years.
I'll second.
Okay, moved and seconded. We answered all our questions, so all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Kurt.
All right, thank you.
Okay, our next agenda item 20, is public safety, and Claudia Garner is here to discuss and request approval for the grants and contracts. Good morning, Claudia.
Good morning, everybody. Public Safety is requesting your approval to apply for the Emergency Management Performance Grant fiscal year 23 with a performance period of October 1, 22 through September 30 of 23. This is a reimbursable grant, and the actual amount of the grant award will be determined once the application period closes and PEMA calculates all the available funds to distribute to the counties. Last year, we were awarded $114,395, and the average over the last 3 years has been approximately $107,000. So we're hopeful to maintain a grant award at that same level. The funding covers up to 50% of the salary and benefits for 2 of our staff members. The grant application is submitted through the e-grant system and due in there by April 20th. The second one on the agenda is we're requesting your approval to apply for the Radiological Emergency Response Fund, state fiscal year 23-24 in the amount of $21,489. That has a performance period of July 1, 23 through June 30, 24. And that provides funding to develop and maintain the comprehensive emergency response plans and capabilities in response to the areas surrounding 3 Mile Island. The average three-year average is 22,000. However, we said this last year, but we were lucky we can apply again. We believe that this will probably be the last year of eligible funding based on the phased shutdown of 3 Mile Island. So Cumberland County won't have the hazards and threats that they've had in years past. We still need to continue planning, so that's why we're still eligible for this funding. This is through the e-grant system as well and due tomorrow, March 31st. And the last item on the agenda for us is we're asking your approval to engage in a contract with Language Line Services. It's incorporated for a 1-year initial term with annual automatic renewals. Our 911 center, as you know, have been utilizing this interpretation services through this vendor for quite some time as a tool to help bridge the communication gap between our callers, residents and visitors who do not speak English, and our staff. By engaging in this contract with them, we'll be locked in at a per minute rate of 4 different tiers of languages versus the fluctuating rates on based on time of day, the day of the week, and the language. This is more in line with some of the other departments in the county who also have this contract already in place. We anticipate the last 4 years, it's anywhere from $3,200 to $3,600 per year. So we're anticipating that's definitely not going to decline. So I think we put in for 30, where's that? Hold on. 35, 32 is what we anticipate for this year. And again, we'll renew that next year. So in summary, Public Safety is requesting a motion for your approval to apply for the EMPG fiscal year 22-23 grant with the amount to be determined and defined in the grant agreement that will come afterwards. And also apply for the RERF grant, state fiscal year 23-24 in the amount of $21,489 and approval to engage in a contract with Language Line Services.
We can do all these 3 together? Yes, you can. Okay, so are there questions for Claudia regarding any of these?
Yeah, for Claudia, the Language Line Services, it's not listed in the agenda, but the amount is $3,532.
It's an actual, just the engagement in the contract is a per minute fee for 4 different tiers of languages. That's the actual term of the contract. It was my estimate that we'll spend $3,532 this year. That's a pure estimate.
Yeah, so it's pay as you go, pay as you go.
Yes.
Okay.
And just to confirm, the PEMA Radiation Emergency Response Fund grant, that is 100% state funded.
That is funded by Exelon, yes. It comes through PEMA.
Okay.
That is not federal funding.
Okay. And I'll make a motion that we approve grants and contracts for public safety as listed. PEMA Emergency Management Performance Grant. The grant application of $155,929 FEMA Radiation Emergency Response Fund grant acceptance of $21,489 and application with Language Line Services, Inc. as presented.
So, Commissioner, if we could amend that motion. So the FEMA Radiation Response Fund grant should be an application rather than a grant acceptance.
I didn't say that. I said the application was for Language Line Services, Inc.
Okay. Did you heard that okay, Stacy?
Commissioner, I heard you read the agenda, which I do apologize. We have a mistake on the agenda.
Oh, it
And
does
it
say
says acceptance, and that should be application.
Application, my fault. Let me retract my motion and start a new motion. Make a motion to approve the grants and contract for public safety as listed. PEMA Emergency Management Performance Grant application 155,929. FEMA Radiation Emergency Response Grant Fund grant application of $21,489 and Language Line Services, Inc. as presented.
I second.
Okay, it's been seconded. There's no further questions. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Got your money.
Thank you.
Okay, that takes us then to agenda item 21, which is Commissioner's liaison reports. And Commissioner Eichelberger, we'll start with you.
Yeah, just briefly, the recycling authority meeting was canceled. So nothing there. I'll check in with Judge, see if there's any office stuff that needs need to be brought up to speed on. On the mental health side, I think we're all up to date. We had our meeting, of course, regarding the budget issues last night, and we had the human services policy team earlier as well. So I'm constantly checking in with them to see if there's any developments, but right now I think everybody's got what they need. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Fauci.
Well, I would remind everyone to use the Cumberland County Library system. Carolyn, of course, was here yesterday and gave her update. And then the only other meeting that I had was the Children and Youth Services Advisory Committee. And I know Nikki has given us an update. But as we are aware, we have complex cases that are an issue, not only in Cumberland County, but across the state. And Nikki has advised that they are doing some hiring, hopefully in a way that really and truly allows them to build a bench. And that's all I have. Thanks, Stacy.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner DeFilippo.
Yeah, Housing and Redevelopment Authority recently met. They approved their public housing agency plan for 2023. The board also took action on some awards for demolition grants. That was with Kerry Watering, 173 South Enola Drive, Enola, and that was for $50,000. Brian and Melissa Kite, 715 Lattimore Road, York Spring, PA, for $18,600. There was also approvals for administrative agreements among the Tri-County Housing Development Corporation and Safe Harbor. And moving on to the Aging Advisory Board, just some updates. I know Andy gave us a very good one the other day at the Human Services Policy Team, but the Caregiver Support Program has been monitored by the state and results are very good. Been a lot of changes to the program lately, including some regulations. Andy Huff spoke about a grant to improve access to behavioral health services for older adults in PA. And the plan is to share a staff with Franklin and Perry County who will help bridge the gaps in mental health services for older adults. We have one new centenarian this month. The name is Shirley Kay. She was 100 on March the 8th. Also good news, all of our senior citizens are really up and running in full operation like they were pre-COVID. Conservation District met Tuesday night. There's going to be another Envirothon this year. It will be at Possum Lake on May 3rd. FEMA has released its final draft of the new floodplain maps. No surprises except for South Newton Township was most affected. with the village of Walnut Bottom, primarily most of the village of Walnut Bottom now in a 100-year flood zone. And municipalities have 6 months to approve the new floodplain maps. Tree seedling sale, April 20th and 21st at Allen Road. There are also some new policy and procedures that we reviewed and approved for the Agricultural Conservation Assistance Program. We have 2 new applications for manure management plan, nutrient management plan, and ag erosion and sediment control plan. Mr. Linford Zimmerman from Penn Township, Dean Smith from Newville. Generally, the way this works, the landowner pays 20% of the cost of these plans. PA Conservation District pays the rest. There is also information given on the upcoming hazardous waste program and their dates. And that is it, Stacy.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner.
You're welcome.
All right, agenda item 22, I would like to report that an executive session was held on March 23rd, 2023 at 9:30 a.m. regarding personnel. And I will ask if there is any other business to come before the board today. Okay, hearing none, we are adjourned.